remember these words anyways.
So a large portion of our energy catabolism and anabolism is regulated by insulin, glucagon, and epinephrine. So insulin is what causes your blood sugar to decrease, while glucagon is the antagonist and it causes your blood sugar to increase. So I'm not exactly sure how those two hormones are regulated because we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But it's just incredible that by secreting these hormones, you have all of these alterations in pathways, which either cause these pathways to downregulate or upregulate. So in the case of insulin, it causes glycolysis to increase because you want to decrease your blood sugar. So let's just go ahead and just use up all that glucose, lower the blood sugar, and create energy. You're also going to create glycogen at the same time, which is your like glucose store. It's a polymer of glucose molecules.
Yeah.
So you're going to create that. That way, if you were to become glucose insufficient, you can then burn that, generate glucose, and then go back to glycolysis and use the energy.
Yeah.
So that's what insulin does. And then at night, whenever your blood sugar is low and you're laying in bed asleep, or whenever you're running, even, whenever your blood sugar gets low, glucagon is secreted. And glucagon acts opposite of insulin.
Yeah.
So it would cause you to start making glucose. Let's rev up gluconeogenesis. Let's use that pyruvate. Let's use some of that fat you have.
Yeah.
Let's use some of the citric acid cycle products that we have. Let's bring those back. Let's make pyruvate and then go back and let's make some glucose. So it's the exact opposite of glycolysis.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's like, okay, we also have all these glycogen stores that we've made. So let's go ahead and burn those too. That'll make some free glucose.
Yeah.
That's why you're sleeping. You secrete this hormone that then causes all these metabolic pathways to upregulate, while at the same time decreasing the metabolic pathways that insulin increased.
So are you losing weight whenever you sleep?
No, because in order to lose weight, well, I guess in a way
you have to burn more than your...
Well, if you are losing weight through exhaling CO2.
Okay.
Because you are... And whenever you're burning glucose, you're making CO2. So some of that is going out as CO2. Also, some of it's leaving as water, metabolic water that you've generated. Which, interestingly, I think we produce something like 2 liters of metabolic water a day just by burning each molecule of glucose.
Nice.
Which I think is, like, astounding.
Has anyone kept these in a jar?
I don't know if you could, because you breathe most of it out.
That's true.
So I wouldn't go as far as to say that you're losing weight while you're sleeping, but you're burning the glucose, and the glycogen, which is then used as energy.
Yeah.
So you're breathing out some CO2, you're breathing out some of the water.
Yeah.
But it's super cool. And further, what's really interesting it might not be completely 100% like correct on it, but from like what we've discussed thus far in my biochemistry class. So individuals that either have insulin insensitivity or just don't produce insulin have a much harder time healing. And like we were discussing, a couple of my friends and I were like, why is that? Like, what connection is there between insulin and healing? And so insulin causes an increase in glycolysis. And one of the products of glycolysis, one of the very first products of glycolysis, is glucose 6-phosphate. And it's just a glucose molecule with a phosphate attached to its 6-carbon. And from there, it goes on through a pathway called the pentose phosphate pathway, where...
So many names.
Yeah. And through the pentose phosphate pathway, it produces ribose 5-phosphate and NADPH. Well, we'll forget about NADPH. It's the same thing as like NADH, but it's typically used in anabolism, like steroid synthesis and fatty acid synthesis.
You're mostly going over my head anyways. Keep going.
So we take that ribose 5-phosphate, and ribose 5-phosphate is a building block of nucleotides. So like what makes up DNA, RNA, ATP, and NADH. Like when everything in nucleotide, you just think of RNA and DNA, but it's so many more things than that. Yeah. It's awesome. So we take the ribose 5-phosphate, and we throw it into another enzyme called 5-phosphoribosyl 1-pyrophosphate synthetase. And it adds...
Can we just call it Bob?
It's actually called PERP. It's PRPP.
Oh, okay.
So we call it PERP.
Okay, well, that's a lot easier.
It's PERP synthetase. And it makes PERP, PRPP. And PERP then acts as a building block for the nucleotides. It allows for the addition of the nitrogenous base, be it adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine. And from there, that's how you make nucleotides. And then it goes on to build up nucleic acids, so like DNA and RNA. So insulin upregulates glycolysis, which then produces glucose 6-phosphate, which then produces sorose 5-phosphate, which then produces PERP. However, if you have insulin deficiency, insensitivity, or you just don't produce it, it strongly inhibits glycolysis. It makes it much harder for glycolysis to occur.
Yeah.
Which means that you have a much lower amount of glucose 6-phosphate that's able to go through the pentose 5-phosphate pathway, meaning you have a much lower level of PERP, meaning much lower levels of nucleotides and nucleic acids.
Yeah.
So in wound healing, you want a lot of mitosis. You want cells to divide.
Yeah.
But you can't divide without
DNA.
So the cells can't replicate their DNA to then go into mitosis, which inhibits wound healing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Now, this may be a stretch, and it might just kill some people. But if you have a wound or something, if you get a hit of insulin, would that kill you faster?
Not.
No, that was just
that would not help you at all. I don't know if it would kill you, but if you're not diabetic, it would probably cause some serious issues.
Nice.
But yeah, that's why a lot of I believe type 1 diabetics have issues wound healing. I'm sure there's other reasons as to why. I also heard that due to the lack of glycolysis, your cells are more prone to fermentation. So during fermentation, you produce lactate, which has a fairly low pH, which causes denaturation of DNA, which also further inhibits mitosis and cell division, which also could stop wound healing.
Cool.
So
doubly stopping.
Yeah, doubly bad. So just like insulin affects all that. And that's just one thing it affects.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Which is why, every once in a while, you're gonna, in your favorite cartoons, you're gonna get, those episodes where they, shrink down and go inside someone's body because it's hey, there's some really cool stuff happening here. Let's represent that in a really cool, interesting way. But you can't quite do the whole, drawing molecules on the whiteboard thing.
And it's just amazing that all this is happening in our cells all the time, while millions of other things are happening at the same time. You think of these cells as these itty bitty little tiny things, and they are these little itty bitty tiny things. But these incredible pathways and syntheses are happening all the time, and they're highly regulated. Yeah, and it's just mind blowing to me. It really is. And then I'm also learning molecular biology. And that's even more mind-blowing. We're looking at the DNA. We're looking on the DNA level and seeing how it causes gene expression. We're looking at how we can manipulate DNA and genes into our own favor.
How soon are we able to select for our children's eye color or whatever?
I don't know if we're extremely close to that, because eye color is actually a fairly difficult thing to control.
I was just tossing out eye color, but certain traits that we would find desirable.
I think we're actually we are close. We are there. We could fairly easily make designer babies. Yeah. We are at that point.
Yeah. A lot of people have a problem with that. If you listen to enough of this podcast, I'm sure you can tell that I'm I'm not attached to very much of the expression of self or whatever. So I mean, like I've said before, if I have the opportunity to upload myself into the singularity, I totes would, because it's just a superior mind power. Why wouldn't you do it? A lot of people have a problem with the is-ought distinction of nature. Nature is an is, but not necessarily an ought. And so, yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to touch that. It's not natural or whatever. Oh, gay people are weird because it's not natural. Yeah, but you know what else isn't natural? You know, humans with Down syndrome surviving past a certain level of infancy, cancer survival, you know, a lot of the medical things that we've done to make the world a better place. You know what isn't natural? Stephen Hawking. That man is far too old to be alive and have that disease. It's stupid.
Wait, are you promoting his death?
What?
Are you promoting his death now?
No, I'm just saying that, like, given the
right,
if
the
you're following the nature ought distinction, Stephen Hawking should not have lived this long.
Yeah.
There's just no way. But hey, fuck nature. Stephen Hawking is brilliant and still alive. So, Stephen Hawking, please stay alive. But
I need you.
yeah, no, we totes need reasonable minds lately. But all that to say, designer babies. Come on. Why not reduce the likelihood of cancer? Why not reduce the likelihood of diabetes or reduce the likelihood of, you know, certain just illnesses that are easily preventable just by switching genes on and off?
Yeah. I agree with that to an extent. Designer babies, they are very controversial.
Sure.
Because designer babies also have the added question of eugenics to them.
Sure.
Like, are we making a race that's, like, pure? Are we going to then say that designer babies are better than normally, like, natural babies?
Sure.
So there's lots of questions added to that.
The problem with eugenics is that it makes a lot of assumptions based on the best possible option. And it's very biased at times. In both directions, not necessarily towards white people or black people or whatever. It's just that eugenics is generally skewed towards the people who like it. But the truth is that survival of the fittest is just that. And it doesn't give a damn. Once again, the thing about science is that it's true whether or not you want to believe in it.
Yep.
And so it's one thing to say, like, oh, well, you know, you can make a whole slew of superior white babies or whatever. But that's also not necessarily superior regarding survival in a fast expanding technological world. It's not regarding survival in, you know, the many different avenues that we might be moving towards in the future. So, you know, having a whole superior race of white people might not benefit humanity as a whole, because as we've seen through billions of years of evolution, we benefit from difference. Novelty is our friend, and so diversity is our friend.
Yeah, diversity and difference is extraordinarily helpful to every living organism.
Yeah, so that's exactly why eugenics becomes its own downfall. So as soon as you start saying that, like, oh no, this is right, then you start cutting off the things that could also be right off to the side that you may not have considered. So, yay, natural selection, showing us mutation and going, hey, did you know this thing works really well? I didn't know that having a scorpion tail would help in survival, but we did it.
Yep.
Screw scorpions, those things are terrifying.
I hate scorpions.
To digress even a little bit more, last night Sable and I were looking at this Instagram account called Prehistoric Pets, and it's just like, I guess it's like a mini zoo or whatever, like a reptile house or whatever, and they have a bunch of giant snakes and stuff and different stuff in there, like lizards and but one of the things was like, it was this scorpion spider thing, and it had like claws, and you know in Goblet of Fire, the weird spidery thing that Moody was like tossing around in the class. It was pretty much that. And in this Instagram, like this dude just like had it on his face, and I was like, nope. You
couldn't pay me to do that.
Nope. Nature, you're scary. But yes, there are times where nature does select for very, very terrifying things.
Yeah, I would say so.
But going back to our designer babies, what are some things that should ethically just be selected for automatically?
Yeah, the big question of this is ethics, and especially when you get into like discussions around like genetic diseases like trisomy 21 Down syndrome, or like Turner syndrome, where you just have an X chromosome, you don't have a Y or another X, which leads to not really you're anatomically a female, but there are other alterations in you that also make you part male. So there are these various genetic issues that ethically, if you have the ability to stop those, I think you're in the right to stop those, to fix them.
If they cause more human suffering, if having that disease or genetic trait that causes more suffering, then generally it seems that you would want to prevent that.
And this is also where I think the discussion on genetic alterations as well as abortion kind of intertwines.
Sure.
Because on the genetic side, we have the ability to possibly stop it or to fix it, or to even cause it to not happen in the first place. And on the abortion side, it's more of a preventative measure. Like, yes, there's this issue. If the baby is born, it will survive, but it will live a disabled life its whole entire life. I mean, you have this discussion of whether that life is going to be viable, whether it will live a life of pain, or whether it's going to cause both turmoil for the mother, the family, and the child.
And to be honest, at that point, it really is up to the parents and no one else.
Yeah. The discussion of abortion is for another time, though.
Sure.
On the genetic side, what's I think is interesting is we do have the ability to turn genes on and off and to alter genes. We don't have the capability yet to make an entire human genome.
Yeah.
But when we have the human genome sequence, we know for the most part what many of the genes are, where they are in the chromosome, and what they are under normal circumstances. So while we can't just make, like, from scratch a human, we would be able to use various genetic technologies to alter, being like CRISPR and Cas9.
Sure.
Which
I've heard of CRISPR. I haven't heard of.
It's like the same thing.
Okay.
I need to do more research into it because I'm also lacking in knowledge. But from what I've seen, it's incredible.
Do you know anything about how they do it? Because like stupid sci-fi brain me is like kind of like earlier how I was saying it's like in the dramatic movie where it's like the biologist guy trying to find the cure for cancer. I'm just doing this bit again because it's funny, and it's on record now. So the biologist trying to find the cure for cancer, and he's like has this clear whiteboard with the white marker on thing. The camera's on the other side of the whiteboard, draws all the molecules. Like, we found it. In the same way, my sci-fi brain with like these like genetic traits thing is like just like really small tweezers.
No, absolutely not.
And just like picking up like a sperm cell or something and like plucking it to the side and being like, yep, that's the one we want.
I wish it worked that way.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know exactly how it works. I mean, it's a fairly complicated
I'm sure.
enzyme and process.
But it's not with tweezers. You're telling
Absolutely not. No. If I'm correct, it's an enzyme and a protein.
Okay.
Like most of the alterations that happen on the molecular level at the DNA level, it's not by like some sort of like instrument or tweezer or anything. It's by enzymes that we've either we've either gathered from other bacteria or other viruses that just so happen to do what we needed to do at that exact moment, or we've been able to mutate them and to do what we want. So it doesn't work exactly like tweezers or anything.
Darn.
But I'd argue like how it does work, at least from like my remedial knowledge, is far more interesting. You have an enzyme that's able to recognize sequence, swap out sequence, and like, it's very interesting.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what enzymes do to proteins
in DNA.
Yeah,
it's super interesting. But as far as like altering genes and stuff, I think it's just as much a question of privacy and parental decision as it is ethics.
Yeah.
Because if IVF is becoming more popular as time has gone on, I mean, at first it was incredibly slanderized, but now it's a fairly common means of getting pregnant if you're unable to do so. And with IVF, we are able to take the mother's egg.
Yeah.
And
in vitro fertilization, if you don't know that acronym.
We're able to take that egg, and we theoretically could use like CRISPR-Cas9 or some sort of genetic modification system
to select for the genes that you want.
Yeah. Or to edit genes, or to even add genes. So that it's super interesting and it's super revolutionary, and it's also there's also this question about ethics. Like, should we be playing God? Should we be doing this?
I also sci-fi brain me is like just picturing an RPG like character creation screen. So it's like you go to the doctor's office and it's like, this is what your baby's gonna look like, and it's like, oh, can we change his nose? It's like, of course you can change his nose, and it's like, here's the little bar. It's like bigger nose, smaller nose. Character creation screen for your baby.
Yeah. And like one of the new things that's happened recently is a 3-person baby, which I think is fairly interesting. So in humans, mitochondrial diseases are extremely dangerous, and they're almost always lethal. I would say they are lethal almost all the time. If you have if you like have the all the recessive genes, if you express mitochondrial disease, you won't make it past the fetus stage.
Yeah.
And if you were to, then you would not have a long life expectancy. Anyway, so I believe it was in Spain, might have been Eastern Europe. A mother who was heterozygous for a mitochondrial disease, meaning half of her mitochondria had this mitochondrial disease and half of them didn't. So she was fine as she was. Like, she wouldn't die because of this mitochondrial disease. But if she were to have a baby,
it would probably definitely.
There's a 50% chance of the baby having a mitochondrial disease. Because whenever whenever sperm and egg fuse, none of the father's mitochondria make it into the egg. The only part of the father that makes it in is half of his genes, his haploid. So all of your mitochondrial DNA actually comes from your mother. So you're more closely related to your mother than your father.
Yeah.
So if anyone ever tells you that, well, you're equally related, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You're far more related to your mother. Anyway, so...
I am a mama's boy.
Exactly. So in order to work around the issue of possibly having a child with a mitochondrial disease, they took the mother's egg that had the mitochondrial disease and they plucked out the nucleus. And they took a donor egg and they took out its nucleus and then put the mother's nucleus into the donor egg.
Did they do that with tweezers?
No, they did that with some sort of a pipette.
Neat.
Just sucked it out. And then they fused sperm with egg, and then a baby has been made.
Cool.
But it's the very first 3-person child.
Cool.
Because you have the donor's mitochondrial DNA.
Yeah.
You have the mother's nucleic DNA. The father's nucleic DNA.
Yeah.
However, there's been controversy with this. Wow. Not on the part of, also on the part of the whole 3-person baby. Religious zealots are up in arms about that.
Sure.
But actually within the scientific community, there's lots of controversy about it because plucking DNA from a nucleus is not a clean process. Our cells are far more like a tree with roots than you would like to think.
Yeah.
Especially within our own cells. So the nucleus, when plucked out, likely took some mitochondria with it. And whenever it was put into the egg, some of the mother's mitochondria that, if it was some of the mother's mitochondria most likely did have the defective mitochondrial gene in there. And what researchers are worried about is that when cells divide, they don't equally split up the mitochondria or organelles or anything.
Sure.
They just they split up the DNA and like the genome of the individual. So there's a possibility that the mitochondria from the mother that are defective get pushed into like one cell just by chance.
Yeah.
And from there, it continues to divide.
So it's like half this child's mitochondria could have this disease and half of them won't.
Right. But it could get even worse than that because she could effectively there's a possibility that the donor mitochondria could just, it could be outcompeted or it could just disappear. Because the child doesn't have the genes for mitochondria. Because some of the mitochondria, synthesis is promoted by some of our own normal nucleic genes, as well as some of the mitochondrial genes. So there's a possibility that the child later on in life could develop only mitochondria that are defective. So she could develop a mitochondrial disease as time goes on by outcompeting the donor mitochondria. So many scientists are worried that while this for now appears to be a very logical way around mitochondrial diseases, we don't exactly know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So there is a chance that the child could later on in life develop mitochondrial disease that would in fact prove fatal.
Sure. But I mean, isn't it either way they still increase the life expectancy of this mitochondrial disease? Because it still would have been like, okay, well, there's a 50-50 chance that your child is going to have this mitochondrial disease and won't make it past either the fetus stage or much farther than that. Right. And so now this child is going to live longer and then potentially develop the disease later. Even still, you increase the life expectancy from fetus stage to much later in life.
Right. And as far as ethics goes, that if you want a child and you do have that mitochondrial disease, that is the ethical decision to make.
Yeah.
Or the decision to have a child, period. But if you were to want to have a child, that is the ethical decision to make.
Yeah.
So it does increase life expectancy of individuals with mitochondrial disease. which is, it's a scientific, I won't say breakthrough, but it's definitely scientific progress.
Oh, yeah. More crawling.
Exactly, more crawling. But seeing as though we don't know exactly what it looks like for mitochondrial diseases to happen on later in life, it's going to be, if it were to happen, it would be interesting, I guess. I mean, science is paved with failure, and science is paved with darkness and death. But I mean, that's how we learn.
Yeah.
So either way,
selection happens.
Either way, this whole entire process is revolutionary, and it's groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it will help many people, especially those that have mitochondrial diseases.
Well, also, kind of going to the point I was making earlier is that diversity is good.
Yeah.
And so being able to generate children from 3 different people rather than 2 also increases biodiversity.
Yeah.
And so technically in the long run, very, very long run.
It'd be a very long run because we have very little mitochondrial DNA.
Yeah. We'll share about like just other instances of, switching nuclei and stuff like that. That we're increasing biodiversity by being able to create babies from multiple different sources. And the added bonus of like, polygamous couples being able to have a baby that's all theirs. Yay.
Exactly.
Those freaks shouldn't have rights. But, those darn Mormons.
Damn it, Mitt Romney. You gave him a voice.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not sure how much you know about this aspect, but Chris Ryan wrote Sex at Dawn. I don't know if you've heard of it or anything. Basically, it's a book saying that the traditional narrative of humans being monogamous is not proven by both anthropology and biology and so on. The way that humans procreate, the way that humans interact with one another, the way that hunter-gatherer tribes and so on. It just seems that the science does not point to humans being monogamous. And it makes sense. The book doesn't try to say that, like, you should be polygamous, have fun, cheat on everyone. But it doesn't say that. What it does say is, like, you choose to be whatever you are, and having more information on that sort of helps you sort of reconcile the feelings that you feel. Regardless, a lot of the competition for humans, given that we are so much like bonobos, comes from sperm competition rather than like full competition. So, the traditional form of competition is basically the 2 gorillas fighting, and the one who is stronger and kills best, gets to have the harem of gorillas and has all his babies. And he wins because his genes spread more. But in humans and bonobos, the information is pointing to say that a lot of the competition happens via sperm. And so sorry if you don't like sex, I'm going to talk about sex. But basically, humans would have, like, basically big orgies, and so multiple men would be having sex with one woman, and even the act of sex, that is like the thrusting, whatever, is, and the shape of the penis and everything is like more driving the point that it's sperm competition that's happening. That we're basically pumping the competitor's sperm out and putting our own in. And so the one who pleases the woman best gets to have the baby.
Yeah.
But it's also not about the father being like, because whenever there's so many men having sex with one woman, like, who the hell knows which one got her pregnant, you know? It was generally just like the whole community cared for this child because child, how about that?
What?
Yeah. So, all of this to say that, sperm competition, could be improved, I guess. We would be reintroducing sperm competition in a way by, or at least introducing the biodiversity that has now been prevented by monogamy, by being able to have 3-way babies, 4-way babies, 12-way babies.
I wouldn't get too carried away with that.
Hey, those Mormons. But, well, I mean, there's only so many nuclei you can exchange.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You get some really small tweezers, just select for every one of those genes. It's like, hey, you want your eyes and her hair and his balls? I don't know, but
I wish things worked with tweezers.
Yeah, well,
would have saved me a lot of time.
No, I mean, I feel like a lot of like early science was kind of, and early science in certain fronts that we have is kind of that crude of just like, rip this thing out, put the other one in.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we're doing the organ transplants, which is kind of like, this one doesn't work, put another one in them, you know. And,
Wait, we have refined the process significantly.
Yeah, well, yes, we have, but like, come on, it's still a little bit crude. It's like, oh, well, this guy's got to dive and take his heart and like, stick it in there. It's like, wait, this one doesn't work. Okay, well, you know, just leave it in there for a while, take some meds, it'll start working after a while.
Yeah.
It's pretty crude.
Yeah.
What about, I think we talked about cloning once.
Yeah. I get to actually do cloning this semester.
Really?
Yeah. Pretty excited about it. But probably not cloning in like the idea that you're thinking of, maybe. So as far as like cloning goes in molecular biology, pretty much what we do is we just take bacteria, and I think we're going to use plasmid vectors. So a plasmid is just circular DNA with a single origin of replication, which is where like an enzyme binds, and that's the start point of replication of the plasmid. And what you're able to do, you're able to take a plasmid that's been made. It's originally like an E. coli plasmid, and
why E. coli?
E. coli are like super readable. They're everywhere, and most of them aren't pathogenic, so they're fairly safe to play with. No, you just hear about the bad E. coli. There's lots of good E. coli. Okay. Your stomach is mostly E. coli.
Oh yeah,
your intestines. Anyway, so it's like an E. coli plasmid that's been pretty much played around with a whole lot by various science companies. And on the plasmid, they've inserted a gene that allows for antibiotic resistance, typically ampicillin. And within the same gene, or within the same plasmid, they have an area, it's called the LAC-Z gene. And LAC-Z, whenever it's synthesized, whenever it's expressed, it causes the expression of a enzyme that whenever it's in contact with its substrate produces blue color. And within...
It just makes it blue?
Well, it's a chemical reaction. Like, it's called beta-galactosidase.
Yeah.
And it cleaves galactose.
Yeah.
But we now can produce a galactose-like substrate that whenever cleaved, it produces a blue color. It's called XGAL. So whenever beta-galactosidase acts on XGAL, it produces a blue color. And within that same gene, the LAC-Z gene, there are areas called restriction sites that enzymes cleave at very specific sequences.
Enzymes coming from the LAC-Z gene be enzymes since they're lacking Z?
Yeah, you can just you can stop right there. You can just stop right there.
I had to, I'm sorry. Continue.
So, in the LAC-Z gene, there are these restriction sites that enzymes cut at very specific sequences.
Yeah.
So, typically there are 4 base pairs, so it'd be like an A, T, T, C. And within that 4 sequence, it would cleave at, say, like A, cut, T, T, C. And it does that very reliably, like with almost 100% accuracy. And there's numerous ones of those across the LAC-Z gene. So with cloning, we have a gene that we want.
Yeah.
And typically it's a protein. So, like, okay, we want to clone GFP, green fluorescent protein, where whenever you shine a laser on it at a certain frequency, it lights up green.
Neat.
Or if even black light, it'll show up bright green.
Cool.
So we want to put in a GFP gene into the plasmid. And what you do is take the GFP gene, and at the end of the gene, you take a restriction enzyme, and it cuts the end of the enzyme, and it leaves these overhangs, because DNA is single-stranded, or double-stranded.
Yeah.
So it'll cut one of the strands while leaving the other strand alone.
Yeah.
And on the other side, it'll do the same thing. And using a compatible restriction site on the plasmid, you can cut the plasmid at the same exact sequence, which then allows for the gene of interest to be inserted into the plasmid at that same site. So from there, you take this now recombinant plasmid, that's what we call it, and you're able to put it onto a petri dish, something along those lines, and you treat the E. coli on the dish. And this treatment allows for the uptake of the plasmid into the E. coli. And once it's inside, they're able to express that plasmid.
Yeah.
So once you've done that, you then take another petri dish, which has ampicillin all over it, antibiotic, and you plate that bacteria. And the petri dish also has XGAL on it, the substrate of LAC-Z. So you plate it onto that petri dish, and any bacteria that grows has definitely taken up the plasmid.
Cool.
Because it has the antibiotic resistance to ampicillin, so it can survive on it.
Okay.
And any of the colonies that are present that are blue don't have the inserted gene of interest. Because once that gene is inserted into LAC-Z, like the gene of interest is inserted into the LAC-Z region, it disrupts the production of LAC-Z. So it can't produce like beta-galactosidase producing the blue color. So any of the colonies that produce the blue color have the plasmid, but don't have the gene of interest. So you then take the white colonies on the dish because they have ampicillin resistance and they're producing the gene. And
then you do it for those.
And then from there, you take that bacteria, you put it on the dish with ampicillin, and you let it grow up, and you now have a gene. Culture. Or a full culture of clones.
Cool.
Because they're all producing the same exact gene. And they're all producing the GFP gene. So if you were to take a black light and shine it on that colony, it would glow green.
Cool.
Yeah. And we actually do that in eukaryotes too. I hadn't seen it actually like in real life, like the product of it, but I went to the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. And they have this really cool exhibit on molecular biology. It's really interesting. And in there, they actually have all these toads and frogs that they've genetically modified. And they express the GFP gene. So they have black lights in there, and it's almost pitch black in the tank, but you can see their eyes because they're bright green. And there's actually some that they're treated with a BFP, a blue fluorescent protein, and they actually glow blue.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting, and that's the type of gene cloning that we're...
Is that how they make glow fish?
I would think so.
or not bioluminescent, but like the fish that could.
Yeah, I would think so.
Huh? Because you sell those at Walmart.
I'm not exactly sure how they make them, but if I had to guess, I would say something along those lines.
It's fairly like inobtrusive. I mean, it wouldn't affect.
It shouldn't affect much of anything.
Yeah.
But it's super like that's the type of cloning that we're doing, and that's just like a small scale clone.
Sure.
Because you can actually clone. There are things called genome libraries, which is the library of a whole entire organism.
Yeah.
And they're usually kept within cosmids, which it's like a plasmid but bigger. And have you ever heard of bacteriophages?
It sounds familiar.
They are viruses of bacteria.
Okay.
So they can infect us. They can infect plants. Only bacteria. Anyway, so
we probably shouldn't ingest those anyway. So
yeah, I mean, probably not. It would hurt our own bacteria.
Well, yeah, you don't want to purge your gut. Don't do that.
No, normal flora is very important. Keep your normal flora in check. It keeps you from many bad things. So, it's really interesting that we play with viruses and genetics and molecular biology. So there's this. It's called lambdaphage. It's a bacteriophage that you can buy easily just over the phone or online, and that's what we insert cosmids into. And cosmids are circular like plasmids, but they have a cause section, a cause site, which is what allows for the entrance of the circular gene into the protein capsid of the virus. And they have a plasmid origin of replication. So this means they act both as like viral DNA and as plasmids. So it allows for the transmittance of the DNA into bacteria with almost 100% reliability, because the whole putting plasmids into bacteria is actually fairly inefficient. Bacteria they like to uptake things, but it's very difficult. Yeah. So it's not very reliable. Yeah. However, viruses are extremely reliable.
Yeah, because they'll do it whether or not you want it to.
And it doesn't matter on the health of the cell either. They'll just do it.
Yeah.
So they're able to effectively insert the cosmid into the bacteria while also, and then once inside the bacteria, it acts as a plasmid, which allows for the replication of the gene. And this also allows for a much bigger genome to be inserted. Yeah. So with plasmids, you can only insert genes of about 12 to 20 kilobases. It's kbs, I think it's the same.
When did this turn into, like, storing data?
Yeah. But that's usually not big enough to hold, like, eukaryotic genes. Eukaryotic genes tend to be significantly larger. But cosmids allow for 40 to 50 kilobytes. Dang it. Kilobases. And that's about the size.
A lot of information.
It's about the normal size of eukaryotic genes.
Yeah.
So, like with I don't know if they do it with the human. I doubt that you could do it with the human gene. I bet they haven't done it with the human genome. That seems unethical on many fronts, at least in what they're doing. Probably against many laws. Yeah. But right now you could call up a molecular lab or a molecular company. You could say, I want the gene library of, like,
humans.
Not of humans. Of just, like, a rabbit. And they would send you a little vial full of bacteriophages that have the whole entire genome of a rabbit. And this is important because it allows for selection of genes. So if you were to want to see what a gene is doing or what it's producing, you can take a probe and find that gene, and then use that gene to make another, and use that gene, put it inside of another bacteria and grow up a colony to produce that.
Are we getting back into tweezers?
No. No. I wish. And you can then produce that gene and, like, whatever associated protein or product is with it, and grow it up and look at it and study it. So the field is super interesting because it's pretty much like arts and crafts with genomes and genes. And we're manipulating many of, like, many things we never thought we'd be able to manipulate. Yeah. Like, we're manipulating viruses to do what we want. And this, I think this also opens up the door for, like, treatment of cancers and other diseases on humans.
Yeah.
And it's been done already, where we've used viruses to insert genes into humans to then combat diseases.
Yeah.
But the success rate is fairly, like, it's kind of a wishy-washy type deal.
Sure.
Because it either is ineffective, it could be effective, but there's also been cases of like lethality where the gene inserted at a really bad location and then caused cataclysmic errors.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the worst things you can do is like
Don't fuck with your genes.
Is a gene shift.
Yeah.
You do not want to shift any of your genes because just a single shift can offset an entire chromosome.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. Because we can withstand a fairly large amount of mutation. Like we can withstand some base changes.
What's the percentage of mutation that we can have before it's like, whoa, buddy?
I don't know the exact number. I mean, it definitely varies by gene. Okay. With sickle cell anemia, it's actually only one base pair. It's 3 base pair change, 3 base pair changes, and because it's a codon change. Normal hemoglobin has a glutamate residue that's exchanged for a valine residue, and glutamate is hydrophilic, while valine is not. So it causes hemoglobin to become insoluble within the red blood cell, which causes its amorphic shape, its crescent shape, sickle shape. So we can tolerate mutations in various locations fairly well, especially in non-coding areas or areas that we think are non-coding. Because large amounts of mutations in that area, I think, are fairly tolerable. Yeah. But like if you mess with hemoglobin, I mean, a single... Because the change from a valine, or from a glutamate to a valine, I'm not sure of the codon sequence, but I can't imagine it's a 3 base pair change. I would think like maybe 1 or 2 of the base pairs are altered. Yeah. And I mean, that's just, it's 2 base pairs out of the millions. Yeah. We have.
Well, I feel like that's where a lot of the fear comes from whenever people are like, testing on biology and genome and stuff like that. It's like, wait, it's really complex. If you touch something, like everything goes out of whack.
But I mean, I'd also like to make the point that, I mean, it's happening all the times in our cells. Yeah. If you take any one of our cells, any 2 cells, the genome's not going to be exactly alike. Sure. There are going to be mutations. Yeah. So a lot of that...
But just because everybody's doing it doesn't make it cool.
I argue it is very cool. But like the argument that we need to be scared of it, I don't think it's very valid. Because... mutations happen all the time, and it's the basis of natural selection and evolution. Exactly. It happens whether you want it to or not. Yeah. So saying that we're scared of adding mutations is fairly unfounded, because mutations are added all the time.
No true Scotsman.
And anytime you go outside, you're inducing mutation. UV is extremely harmful to DNA. Anytime...
Yay, sunlight, making progress since the beginning of time.
And we induce mutations all the time with what we eat. It's been shown that eating well-done meats that are burnt, causes mutations. I mean, pretty much everything we do causes some sort of a mutation. Yeah. Breathing oxygen is absolutely horrible for our genes and for our DNA. It is absolutely awful. It creates all sorts of dangerous oxygen species, free radicals. All of it is it damages DNA just with no remorse.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're shittily designed, like we.
Exactly. I mean, we're designed just well enough to survive. Yeah. If it weren't for clothes, I'd be dead. I mean, it's true. So. Yeah, I find that the question of whether or not to manipulate genes and to alter genes and to play with genes and DNA is fairly unfounded, because it happens already. While we might be propagating the changes and stuff like that is definitely questionable. But on the argument itself, I find it fairly unfounded. Yeah, because you basically say mutations are bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you gonna do about it?
Nature is art. Jordan, do you mind if I ask about your stance on the higher power recently?
Sure, go ahead.
What's your stance on the higher power?
Yeah, so this past year's been pretty awful as far as my stance on the higher power goes.
Science.
Yeah, science has once again converted a person. Damn it, science. Yeah, I took comparative anatomy this last semester, and it was pretty telling as far as evolution goes. I mean, I've always, especially the start of like my freshman and sophomore year of college, once I got down to like the actual biology courses, like it was fairly irrefutable that we are a product of evolution. And this last class really sealed it in that we are a product of evolution.
Yeah.
So that class did not do anything good.
What was it? Like the fact that we're just so shittily designed, or like
no, it was just the progression of life on Earth.
Yeah.
Because saying that all life just happened, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the best thing I can probably say about it.
Yeah.
Because it makes no logical sense whatsoever. Yeah. Because we started back at like the very beginning of vertebrates with like the lamprey.
Yeah.
The lamprey is pretty much the simplest vertebrate we know. That's alive today. It doesn't even have, it has a notochord. It doesn't even have like a spinal cord. So from there, you're able to see the progression all the way through what we know of as now. You're able to see it through the dinosaurs. Well, first you're able to see the migration from water to land, and actually back to water.
Yeah.
But I think what was most telling to me was actually the migration from water to land, because you went from fins to bony fins, to then lobed fins with bones, and then to starting to walk on land, and then to full-fledged
just on land.
Yeah. And even when you look at the fish of like right prior to whenever they became land animals, like they had the bones that we have. Like they had humeruses, they had femurs, they had fibulas. Like it was there. Yeah. And that you can see the evolution from like fin rays to fingers. Yeah. It's irrefutable. Yeah. It happened. Yeah. So it wasn't good for creationism. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, but like, if you really do think that like creationism is true, then you're just missing. You're just missing information.
I would say so.
Yeah.
There's a large piece of natural history that you are just completely avoiding. Yeah. You are saying A, it doesn't exist, or B, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And neither of those are good logical reasons. Yeah. And even whenever you discuss like portions of the Bible, like Noah's Ark, it doesn't make any sense. Period. You can't say that Noah took two of every kind of animal, which wouldn't be possible anyway because Pangea. Yeah. So how did he get animals from, South America, Antarctica, all the way to the Middle East? He didn't. So strike one. Yeah. But or you got two of every animal, and then you put them on a ship, and then the world floods. There's no way in that span of time we would see the biological diversity we see now. It would be a catastrophe as far as genes go. Yeah. Because the lack of diversity would cause those animals to go to extinction. Yeah. I mean, it's what we're seeing now with like endangered tigers, where there's not enough of a gene pool for there to be viable offspring that survive. Yeah. They're pretty much just sick their entire lives. Yeah. So, strike two. Yeah. It just makes no sense. Yeah. And the thought that a higher power has control over life, over like natural selection, doesn't make sense whenever you think about all the bads that natural selection has caused, especially when you think of like nowadays, because and just general mutations and just alterations in genes and genomes, because there's so much bad that can happen on an organismal level, on a cellular level, that it's counterintuitive to what an intelligent designer would do. Mm-hmm. If an intelligent designer existed, then why do we have such unintelligent errors and mistakes in organisms?
Yeah.
It's a serious logical error.
Yeah, that and flesh-eating bacteria and all just the
Which
atrocities.
Are cool as hell.
All of the atrocities of the natural world. Just what an asshole.
You know what the coolest about flesh-eating bacteria?
What?
Streptococcus pyogenes. It's the same bacteria that causes strep throat. At least one of them is.
Yeah.
One of the flesh-eating bacterias.
Is it still like eating your flesh whenever you have strep?
No, it's a completely different type of virulent form.
Oh, okay.
Different strain.
Yeah.
But it's neat nonetheless.
This might be an even longer conversation. Well, first, I'm just going to ask, do you even believe in God?
I don't think so. I don't think I believe in a God. Until... I don't know. I don't feel as though there's a higher power. Whenever you look at life on Earth, life has existed, then not existed for some, and then existed for some, and life comes in ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And since we are descendants of other animals, what makes us so much better than other animals to say that they don't have a god or a higher power either? Yeah. There's nothing that really sets us apart besides our difference in genes from, say, gorillas and monkeys, our own, hominid descendants. There isn't any difference.
We also wear them.
Yeah, we do wear jeans.
Continue.
But, with this reasoning of a higher power, then you would also say that the Neanderthals must have had a higher power. Mm-hmm. There must have been a god. Mm-hmm. So if you're saying that, then it makes no sense that the disciples and prophets of, say, the Bible were human but not Neanderthal. You're excluding a whole entire subset of, human history to only, now.
Yeah.
So the idea of Christianity applying only, or the idea of religion applying only to us doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it apply to anything else?
Yeah.
Because we are descendants of evolution.
Yeah. But there's also Dog Heaven.
Yeah,
that movie had a sequel.
Oh, good. Needed a sequel.
Science is revelatory.
It is. And it's not that I am slanderizing religion. If you think that there is a higher power, then more to you. If you can not even convince yourself, if you can make yourself believe, if facts point you in the direction that there is in fact a higher power, then by all means believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
But for my own personal self, I just don't logically see a higher power. It doesn't make sense. And right now I'm taking a religion course, and seeing as though how religion is strictly a device made by man, it also makes no sense.
Yeah.
So, because right now we're discussing Hinduism, and Hinduism is a mixture of two different religions melded into one, and both of the previous religions were just of man making. They were just made by man, and they fused, and then now we have Hinduism. And it's the same thing with Christianity, any other major religions. It's something made by man that now is believed by everyone, or by its followers.
Yeah.
So it's this man-made concept that promises an eternal afterlife, or it promises some sort of benefit beyond life.
Yeah.
And it's just these human constructs that I don't think are very founded.
Yeah.
But if you can have your own firm base in them, by all means support it.
But it also causes me to question, you're not even that far along in biology. You're still an undergrad.
Yeah.
There's many people who have studied the same stuff you have, and more so, and deeper, that still somehow, like, split their brain in order to go, this is where it's science, and this is where it becomes God.
And from, like, discussions with other people, many of them remain Christian, but they have a much more agnostic, like, idea of Christianity.
So they're, like, hardly
like,
Christian.
they think that there's a God, but the God is what allowed for life to occur. They don't so much believe, like, in the Bible or in the stories of the Bible. They just believe that there's a God. The God very well could be the Christian God, and it is what allowed for life to begin. And then they convince themselves that if that's the case, then that allowed for evolution to happen, allowed for us to happen. And there's just, like, this overwatching God.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like deism.
Yeah.
Like
That's
the Great
still,
Watchmaker.
Yeah, but that's still, like, a big leap into, like... And then he sent his son, and so on. Woo.
And I know many physicists also have this idea of God. They picture, or they theorize that God is light, because nothing can go faster than the speed of light, at least as far as we know. So saying that you can go faster than the speed of light is saying that you can go faster than God, which theoretically isn't possible. And yet. And also they also, many biologists and just scientists in general are able to ration that creation didn't begin like the whole 7 days thing. It was the Big Bang, which led to everything. And that Genesis is just an allegory. So there are many people that are able to rationalize religion and apply it to biology or to physics or whatever, what have you. But I'd say it's far more prevalent, at least now, that scientists are either agnostic or...
Well, agnostic by, like, necessity.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, you can't make a whole claim anyways. It's like, yeah, but No, I can't say there's no God because, like, probability.
Right. And I would never say that... I logically do not think that there's a God.
Yeah.
But in my own mind, I would not say that there absolutely is not a God. Without a shadow of a doubt, there is not a God. Because, yeah, like, statistics.
Sure, probability. But, like, and I brought this up before on the podcast, that, like, at some point, you really just, like, draw the line and go, it's just true. Like, let's just be pragmatic about it. And, like, it's just true. Like, hey, I'm sitting down. Hey, I'm in this room. Like, sure, there's some probability similar to the probability of a God actually existing. Like, yeah, there's some probability that this isn't true and that I'm not really here. I'm just a brain in a vat or whatever, like, whatever simulation theory, all these other things that could stem from that. But, like, at some point, you just kind of got to go. It's like, well, come on.
And I think this is one of the bigger problems that this time period is going to face. Because, especially with our generation, we are the largest secular generation that has existed. Unless you, like, discount communism in Russia, where they all were going to be atheists. But
that was less
it was
science-oriented, though.
But, like, right now, we are a generation that's mainly secular. And the generations previous to us are far from secular. And I kind of believe that the only way for us to advance is to go beyond what the boundaries of religion have set in place.
Sorry.
Because if you force yourself to believe that creationism is what led to life, there is no such thing as evolution. If you force yourself to believe that there is a God that is all powerful, so there's no need for us to, like, do this because he can do all, it impedes us from advancing. If we put a blind in front of us and say, this is where we draw the line, there's nothing behind, there's nothing in front of, because anything around there would disqualify God or religion. And that is extremely hindering to our advancement.
It's also just kind of dangerous.
It's very dangerous. because you're setting it's very dangerous.
Putting blinders around your car.
Exactly. So whenever I hear that politicians are wanting to, especially here in Oklahoma, are wanting to allow teachers to be able to teach whatever they want in science, allow them to be able to teach creationism or anti-evolution stance, or that they want to dispel climate change, or that even teachers have to teach those. If a teacher teaches evolution, she has to also teach, or he also has to teach or if he teaches evolution, also has to teach creationism.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
Because one of those is scientifically proven. It is a theory. The other is an unfounded hypothesis.
Yes.
And mixing those two and saying that they both are equally true is extremely dangerous. That is what is happening now. Like, if you think about how our political atmosphere has deteriorated so much, it's because of things like that, where we raise opinions to the level of fact, and now we can't differentiate between the two.
And that also stretches into, our own realm in the left progressive side, where saying that, like, you know, a teacher can be fired for, you know, not giving a trigger warning or something. Like, that's also detrimental to progress.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not just like, oh, hey, you idiots over there on the right are being super hella ignorant. Like, it's also on this side too, where it's like, you know, there's some crazy ass people that want to kill all white people too. So, and I don't know, man. Trigger warnings to safe spaces are dumb.
Yeah, I kind of think so too. Especially whenever those safe spaces keep you from hearing other opinions.
Exactly.
And granted, some opinions just shouldn't be heard, at least in my opinion.
Sure.
Because there are some opinions that should not gain support and should not even have...
Rather than say opinion, just ideas.
Okay. There are some ideas that just shouldn't even be circling around in a person's head.
Yeah.
But, like, on college campuses, revolutions and new ideas, new hypotheses happen by putting two differing ideas or putting two new ideas together. You don't achieve that if you set yourself off from other individuals. Now, granted, I do go to a fairly liberal school.
Sure.
We do live in our little liberal bubble.
Yeah.
We joke about it all the time on campus. But that's not to say that everything is a safe space. It's definitely not. We have very open discussions in many of our classes.
Yeah.
And while it is a liberal-leaning campus, there are many conservatives. Because, I mean, this is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
There are Oklahoma students in there that are conservatives. So there are very good discussions that happen in the classrooms, in the lectures, that while other college campuses probably wouldn't allow them because it's not the liberal ideal, it's not liberal ideas, we definitely allow them because it allows for better discussion, it allows for better knowledge, it allows for individuals to know there are other ideas out there besides their own.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
And we should also just consider that any restriction on free speech is, you know, to be questioned because you're hindering something.
Yeah.
Obviously.
However, if that free speech leads to violence, though, I believe that we should not allow that.
It depends. The context. For example, you should not yell fire in a crowded theater.
Right.
That is, you know, clearly speech leading to violence.
But like hate speech that slanderizes individuals, just calling for other individuals to hurt them or to be detrimental to them.
Yeah.
I think that crosses the line.
But, and that's where you sort of like, for me, I'm sort of anarchist anyways. So, that's not for any government to decide what should be allowed in speech. it's for the people within a society to hold themselves in a standard that, dictates better behavior, both from the people doing the hate speech and from the people that are being, pushed into violence. If we want to say that we're the superior Homo sapiens that we are, then we should be able to, say that, like, he was asking for it. Like, no, like, you still punch someone in the face. Like, you punch him in the face. Like, so, like, yes, sure, the Nazi was asking for it. He was doing hate speech or whatever. But, like, you know well enough, living in a free society, that if you punch someone in the face, there's going to be consequences. Come on.
Yeah.
Also, you should also know that if you're going to be doling out the hate speech, you should know that there's going to be consequences.
Not
necessarily in violence, because we shouldn't encourage that. We shouldn't say, like, oh, he was asking for it, you're going to get punched in the face. But we should say that, like, well, how does that affect how you're treated at your job? How does that affect, who's going to want to be around you? Because, like, yeah, we're civilized enough to not punch people in the face, but, we're also civilized enough to not want to be around people that we don't like. And so, if you...
So are you saying we should take a natural selection approach to free speech? Where...
Yeah, like...
You can say shitty things, the shitty things are just going to die out, or, like, replaced by better things.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, I mean, we should just treat bad ideas like they're bad ideas. And, it's like... hey, white people are superior. It's like, okay, you can stand over there and think that. But, once your inbreeding has led to, a massive amount of death over there, well, you had it coming that way rather than getting punched in the face. Don't punch Nazis in the face.
So as far as, like, science goes in the school, would you say that both teaching creationism and teaching evolution are both founded in the classroom, as both could be considered free speech?
No, because we shouldn't waste our time on bad ideas.
Right. So, but who classifies that as a bad idea? Because the religious right would say teaching evolution is a bad idea, because that's counterintuitive to what we as, like, Christians believe, while those of us that in the science community are like, no, teaching creationism is a horrible idea. It's detrimental to science. It's detrimental to the vast majority of humans. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, well, let's consider the effect. Should we consider the effect on a populace that, may or may not get to a potential heaven? Or should we consider the populace that may or may not have to deal with science in the future, regardless of whether or not there is or isn't a heaven afterwards?
My problem is I just don't feel comfortable leaving that to hands of people, because I think it was something like 65% of evangelicals said that God was the one that decided this election. That's a terrifying prospect, that a large majority of the population of the United States believes that God had some sort of an effect on this election.
Yeah, and that's a bad idea, and we're seeing the effects of it.
Right. But many of the people that we're seeing the effects as negatives, but others see those as positives. They love the fact that there's going to be...
Okay. Well, long enough, they're going to see the bad effects. Whenever your mortgage rate goes way up, whenever war happens, whenever further terrorist attacks happen, you're going to see the negative effects of these bad ideas. Just like beliefs affect behavior, beliefs affect, or ideas affect how certain things manifest in the real world. They have real world consequences. And so for us to, we're able to adjudicate what ideas are good and bad. And so, I mean, should we jump off a bridge? Well, we can assess that, like, that's not a good result.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can deduce pretty well. And so, yeah, there are good and bad ideas, and we can see the effects of them. And we have thousands of years of history and science to back that up.
But with like nowadays, there's a serious anti-intellectual problem here in the United States, and we could very well be seeing the undoing of.
Okay, well, a lot of that comes with having conversations with people rather than cutting them off. So, like, let them run the simulation in their head. It's like, all right, so this isn't true, then let's follow that train as long as we can.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And you'll see how, eventually, I talked to my dad about this, like, what would happen if Donald Trump would get rid of DACA and then deport all the people that are under DACA? The last article that I read, which was from, like, June of last year or something like that, said that there were at least 700,000 people under DACA, legally in the U.S. under DACA. And, obviously there's more now, given that more signed up, because a year before then it was somewhere around 500,000. So 700,000 people under DACA. If an executive order goes, no, cut that off. All of these people are now on record. They have their addresses. They have their phone numbers. It's just a big registry of people to deport.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea the magnitude and, like, the firepower, the police force, to deport at least 700,000 people? Like, that's insane. You can't even get a cop to, like, stop people from littering. So, like, are you kidding me? 700,000 people deported immediately?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
And
so, like, just run the simulation. I ran that simulation.
Yeah. And I know that, like, in many cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, those cities that act as sanctuary cities, they would be very hard-pressed to enforce that executive order. Yeah. I mean, this is where, like, the hypocrite in me comes out saying that, like, the Border Patrol's being, complete assholes by not following the judicial branch. And if, say, the judicial branch upholds that DACA ruling and, like, San Francisco or any city says, no, we're not going to do that. I mean, I would be praising San Francisco. I mean,
sure.
That's the hypocrisy in me.
Well, sure, but at the same time, there's good and bad ideas.
Yeah.
And, the principles behind DACA was like, oh, well, these people weren't willingly in the United States anyways, and so they've been living most of their lives as Americans. They might as well be treated as Americans. At least let them have a job or whatever, because it's not their fault. So, I mean, that's a pretty decent idea to uphold. So, like, praise good ideas. And, treat bad ideas as bad ideas.
That should just be our new motto as Americans.
Well, that's why my third thing is I might be wrong. Is because, I think I have some good ideas, but then some ideas change. And everyone could be wrong, but it's all just trying to continue to get better. It's not I might be wrong, so fuck it. It's just like I might be wrong, so I'd like to be more right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we should, as a society, effectively, objectively identify good and bad ideas and, pursue the good ones and probably steer away from the bad ones. At this point, us young people being secular as we are, religion seems like a bad idea. Sorry.
I would agree with
that. Faith in general, the idea of believing in something without empirical evidence, that's some dangerous stuff right there.
I honestly would say the most dangerous thing we are currently facing is that we don't know the definition of a theory.
Yeah.
That is by far the most threatening thing.
Which we have explained on here.
Yes.
Yes, there's a difference between a hypothesis and a theory.
Because I can almost promise you, if they use the word theory in any mainstream media, it is the wrong use of the word theory.
Yeah. Well. And it's because of you that I say hypothesis rather than theory.
Yes, thank you.
But I mean, yeah, we can look at good and bad ideas. Islam, forcing women to be treated as property and wearing burqas, not a great idea.
Yeah.
Doesn't promote human flourishing. You're not going to get any Marie Curies through that anytime soon.
But as time has gone on, especially in the United States, you have seen that Islam has become more and more progressive. Like, women are gaining voices, especially in the United States.
But that's also counter to Islamic doctrine.
You're right. I think this points in a good direction, though, because Islam is one of the most, like, it is so faith-based, so, like, Quran-based, that we're seeing that people are starting to divert from that hardcore base. They're able now to expand their horizons a little bit, see just beyond.
And beyond. Those are the people that we should protect. Those are the people that, it's these progressive Muslims that are able to shape their own culture, shape the people around them, shape their parents, shape their friends, and go, hey, look, there's some stuff in here that's pretty good. There's some stuff in here that's not as good. And we need to, talk about the things that cause us to fit in better with this culture. And those are the people that should not be banned. Those are the people who should be, welcomed with open arms.
And I think for the most part, those are the individuals that are coming to the United States.
Yeah.
Because the people that, it's a giant stereotype, but the people that are staying there in those countries, those are the ones that typically are hardcore faith-based.
Sure.
Especially like Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
The Muslims in Saudi Arabia, they are very hardcore theocracy-based. They will not leave their religion. Many of those individuals, they're blinded by faith. But in many of the refugees, I think, have had their faith shaken quite a bit, especially in the past 20 years with all the incessant wars and genocides that have happened in that area.
Yeah.
And while those are all horrible, horrible things, I would never want for those things to happen to anyone.
Yeah.
I think it's shaken the faith a bit, and it's allowed people to wake up, see that there is light at the end of this. There's another tunnel beyond this faith that I need to go to. So I'm seeing light at the end of this religion tunnel. I'm seeing an actual other light that is reality.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's instilled a bit of progressivism into Islam.
But you also have to consider that, like, it takes a while.
Right.
And while some of these people are going to be like, yeah, I don't want to behead people, but, like, no, my wife is still my property. Like, it's still a spectrum.
Right.
And we still have to talk to people. The people that are willing to assimilate are the ones who are going to benefit our society. Again, biodiversity. We have to intermingle. And we have to select through all that. It's all nature. It's all science. And the people who fall behind, we should treat bad ideas as bad ideas. And, like, talk to these people and be like, hey, look, this isn't working out with the way that we're doing things, and it's going to become a problem if you really think that, women should be property, or if you really think that apostates should be killed. In the same way that, we're still dealing with that with Christianity now, that white nationalists and, Westboro Baptist Church, like, it's still...
I mean, it's very prevalent. Right. Christianity is still evolving, as well as Islam. All the religions are still evolving. And it takes a lot of time because, to see how far Christianity has evolved in the past 200 years, it says that it does, in fact, evolve. Ideas do change. And you can't separate yourself from the strict teachings of the Bible. You can take a less literal interpretation and a more metaphorical, allegorical interpretation. And once individuals realize that, then it allows for individuals to step past
Yeah.
the hardcore beliefs that are religion, and be able to focus on what is reality.
Mm-hmm.
And
the reality is that we're facing a planet that is dying under its own trash, and we should probably, do something about that before we all die.
Yeah, probably
That's
not.
the reality of
Probably
it.
not.
And we
not wasting my tax money on that.
that's the difference. That like you could waste your time on bad ideas. We're wasting our time on bad ideas, on debating whether or not religion should be taught in schools, on whether or not climate change should be taught in schools. We're wasting our time. We should analyze the risk and reward.
Mm-hmm.
What's the risk of denying climate change? Well, if it let's do Pavlov's wager here. Pavlov's wager is if there's a God in heaven, then you should probably bet on it being true, because if you're wrong, then you burn in hell for all eternity. But if there is no God in heaven, then you just die and then nothing.
Yeah.
In the inverse, let's bet on climate change being true, because if it's not true, then oh no, what have we done? We made renewable energy. We've stopped littering. We've cleaned up our waterways, our water. We've made our future more breathable.
That's why this whole anti-climate change debate is ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
It is absolutely ludicrous to say that, no, we shouldn't invest in new technologies. No, we shouldn't help.
Yeah.
We shouldn't stop pollution. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah. You're basically saying, I want to drink poisoned water. I want to breathe poisoned air. Mm-hmm. I don't really care what the effects are. Mm-hmm. Let's just keep on doing it. Mm-hmm. As long as I get money, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's a serious problem.
And so if you wager on, climate change being not true, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to spend less taxes now, and then your children are going to die.
Exactly.
Cool.
If we were to fund actions against climate change, the worst that can happen is we'll have widespread renewable energy.
Yeah.
The absolute worst.
Oh no, we paid taxes to have renewable energy.
Yeah, quit your socialist bullshit right now. It's wrong. Doesn't know Russia.
Yeah. So, I guess, do a bet, run the simulation, just really, think about it. Because...
Or listen to scientists. I can promise that scientists are not out to spread lies. We don't get paid to lie.
So to what gain?
There is no gain. We don't get paid to lie, and we don't really get paid at all.
Yeah. No scientists get paid to not say stuff.
That's true.
Scientists get paid to not say the truth. The massive amounts of studies that are done so that scientists can be like, hey, look, it's actually not. Oh, well, can't have that.
But to say that climate change is a false hypothesis stood up by the liberal elite is completely wrong.
Yeah, there's nothing to gain from it.
And it's just completely... scientists don't...
Yeah.
There's not enough money.
And what's the money in denying it? Well, you get all this money from the oil companies. You get all this money from coal and natural gas.
Yeah.
And these rich people continue to get richer. That's why the CEO of Exxon is the Secretary of State.
Yeah. Because climate scientists don't get paid. So they're not in this work to... just, the hell of it. They're in it to show that things are actually happening. Yeah. They're doing their research on a part of humanity.
Yeah.
I'd argue that they're some of the most humans we have.
Yeah.
Because they are completely selfless in what they are doing.
Yeah. There's the part of, the preamble of the Constitution is blah, 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 to ourselves and our posterity. Our posterity is in there for a reason. And in that you're not just living your life for yourself, but you're living your life for the people that come after you.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any kids, there's still going to be people after you. And, like, okay, if you don't give a damn about them, well, don't fuck it up for them anyways. Just, like, you know, do you and let them do them.
But that's the core problem that we have in the United States, that so many people are so, they lack so much empathy, and they're so self-centered, so selfish. Mm-hmm. They cannot see anything beyond their own two eyes. Mm. And it falls right back into, like, science, like saying that science just isn't real. Mm. They just aren't capable of seeing beyond their own selves.
Beyond. Sorry.
And it's where that lack of empathy comes from. They're not able to understand things that, if they can't understand it, then it must not be true.
Yeah. And
that's a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah. Just, like, I don't know, do your research. I mean, or don't. Just trust in, like, you know, whenever your parents tell you, like, hey, don't touch the stove, it's hot. And then you touch the stove and it was hot. And they're like, oh, darn, I burned my hand. Like, yeah, idiot, I told you not to burn your hand. Well, you know.
But make sure your research is peer-reviewed. Like, the research articles you read need to be peer-reviewed.
Yeah.
Please don't go to Breitbart.
Yeah, good old alternative facts. We've been yammering on for a little while here. Jordan, once again, thank you.
Yeah.
What's your Twitter, your tweets?
Twitter tweets at JBreezy. I believe it's JBREEEZYY. 2 Y's, 3 E's.
Nice. And yeah. What are you majoring in? You're about to graduate?
Yeah, I'm about to graduate with a degree in cell molecular biology with a minor in chemistry.
Yeah. So all them chemicals and enzymes and proteins that he was...
Don't you mean enzymes?
That's just on the lac Z.
Oh, everything I know is wrong.
That's because Jordan knows what he's talking about, and he's gonna continue to keep learning about this stuff and get that cure to cancer or something. I don't know, maybe not. No,
we'll see.
If he gets paid enough to do that.
I'm not in it for the money.
Well, no, not for the money, but I mean, like, you gotta start with something.
Yeah, that's what grants are for.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, support your scientific communities and all that.
Please come out in March. March for Science, April 22nd. Please do it. Show some support for us scientists.
Yeah. And, you know, logic, reasoning, objectivity, good ideas.
Nothing good has happened whenever science is silenced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing good.
Yeah. Yeah, just look for the truth. Hopefully, I am a source of that, and hopefully, I'm not the only source of that. By gosh, you should probably expand your horizons, listen to more podcasts, and listen to the side that you disagree with too, because you have to be able to understand, not your enemy. They're not your enemy, but just your adversaries. There's a difference. You have to understand the people that are against the things that you believe, and be able to truly understand them so that you can convince them yourself. Because the more that we expand, the better we are together. And that is why, well, real quick, I need to say my website. I'm Santiago Ramones. You can find all the stuff that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com, where I make music. And this podcast will also be there, which is also on iTunes, which you can leave reviews. You can also feel free to contact me. But to continue my previous sentence, the the more that we work together, the better off we get to be, which is why I end every podcast with my 3 things, which are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.